What's up, guys? Devin Zander here, this time with sunglasses, and I have my co-host, Mr.
Clayton Johnson.
The sunglasses changed his voice. But
Oh, yeah, baby.
Clayton, the most important thing is that you let the people know who we are. Clayton, who are we?
We are the Rowdy Boys.
The fucking Rowdy Boys. This time
Yeah.
with sunglasses, because goddamn is it bright. Speaking of bright, this is a perfect segue into our next topic here. Today we're going to be talking about copywriting.
Yeah.
It's bright, right?
Oh, yeah. It's bright like the sun of money that will shine on your face when you figure out how to do it right. Ding!
Dude,
That means the answer was right, dude.
Away with words. Jeez.
Okay. Well, yeah, today we're going to be talking about copywriting. I'm going to make sure that the phone does a ding. Copywriting. Dude, we're going to talk about what is copywriting, why it's important, how people can make so compelling copy that you can essentially pull money out of people, okay? So, dude, let's start breaking. Let's just get right into the episode, okay?
Wait, before we get into it, we got to let the people know that this episode is brought to you by Kratom.
Oh, it's brought to you by Kratom. And, it's the bomb. So, Rowdy, cheers. We're going
cheers.
here.
Whoop, Kratom.
All right.
Oh,
yeah.
Got a sip.
Sippity sip. Okay, let's get right into it, man. All right. So, let's break down. So, people that, you say copywriting, sometimes people think like copyright. You mean like
a lawyer,
the lawyers and trademark? No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about actually writing actual copy, for marketing purposes, right? For the purposes of getting people to eventually give you money. All right.
It's the
so
text
just
on
to be
the
clear,
sales letter. It's text on the sales letter. It's a script in a sales video.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah,
I don't think we have to get too far into that. The people who
but
are
just
watching,
to clarify,
they know.
All right. So first, I want to talk about why is copywriting actually important? It's just the words, right? Isn't it the design and everything like really important? Like when you try to make something, you gotta sell it, you gotta do the design and just put in the words last, right?
Yeah, no. Dude,
No. Yeah, no.
Think about this, man, right? Like if you're I guess you could say that, right? Like that is true, right? It's just words. But here's the thing is there's tons of people trying to sell tons of different things, right? How do you convince someone that yours is the one that they should go with, right? It's by creating a compelling message. Also, another reason why it's so important is because in one of our previous episodes, we talked about pain levels that people are at, right? And so sometimes a lot of products are just nice to have, and it may not actually align with what they want right now. It's a nice to have. Well, your job with your copy is to elevate that to a must-have right now, and you can do that through a multitude of different things, including because the copyright it's not just in a vacuum by itself, right? Because you have the offer as well, and you build the scarcity, you do all these different kinds of things just to change that level of where the prospect is from maybe don't need it to oh shit, I need this right now, I need to buy. Or, whatever it is that you do. I guess people do copywriting for all kinds of things, but I suppose on the Rowdy Boys podcast, we're talking about direct response marketing and direct response copywriting, where we want someone to buy something from us right this second.
Dude, yeah, 100%. Dude, I think that copywriting, like learning how to actually write compelling copy is the most underrated skill. It is the crux.
So
it might be one of the most, if not the most valuable skill that any marketer could learn. Because why? Well, every single thing that you ever do is going to come from copywriting. If you're on Facebook ads, you got to be a good copywriter. If you run a sales letter, you got to be a good copywriter.
Send an email, if you want to do social media posts.
Exactly, man. If you want to convince people to do anything, you need to be a good copywriter. So this is a skill that I think that every marketer should heavily invest in getting right. Because, dude, the words are everything. The words are everything, the design and all that kind of stuff. If you have the right words, the design almost becomes irrelevant.
Well, the design essentially is irrelevant. The only time design should ever matter is if it's helping emphasize your words. Like you're not going to do design just because it's pretty or because it looks good, right?
Yeah.
The text is all that matters. And then if your design can help accentuate that text or help you make a point with that text, then that is what it is for. But you don't do it just because it looks good.
Yeah, I think people like confuse it. They think so much of it is weighted on this one side. It's like, okay, boil it down. And like if somebody really has a huge pain point, like if you're looking for the the cure to cancer or something, dude. Would you care about the design? No, you care about the words on the page.
Yes.
What is actually there? Does it solve your pain point? And that's all that matters. If it's convincing yeah. So I think that copywriting is like maybe the number one skill, and it's also the thing that marketers lack. Man, I see so much bad copy. It's also hard to learn too. But anyway, I just want to say that it's really, really important. Okay. Sorry, that was like a 10-minute tirade that I went on.
I don't think it was 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It was more like 3.5.
All right. So we know why it's important. So I wanted to talk with you about, what happens before you even sit down to write? Because people are like, okay, I got to sit down to write.
And then
but
just
actually,
get into it.
The process of copywriting starts before you even write. So talk about that a little bit.
Well, the truth is that I would say 80 to 90% of the work is done before you ever even sit down to write. Because if you do not know who your target market is, then your copy will fall on deaf ears. Yeah. So obviously, to all the listeners out there, sunglasses up for a second, what I'm talking about is doing avatar research and market research. Here's the thing. If you don't know what motivates your, target market to take action, they're not going to buy anything from you. Your copy's not going to be compelling. I could talk to you about selling you some fucking, I don't even know, glasses or something. I'm trying to think about your eye thing that's going on, right? Yeah. But I could be like, oh man, something's wrong with Clayton's eyes. Oh, maybe he just needs new sunglasses, right? I didn't take the time to learn what was really wrong with you. So I'm trying to sell you sunglasses, but no, that's not what you need. You need some medication.
Yeah.
That's a bad example. I'm so sorry, everyone.
Yeah.
But in the dieting world too, let's say that there's a certain conference that someone's going to and they're going to give a speech about this new fitness routine, but they didn't take the time to research the competition and see that it's actually for people who are trying to lose weight and are disabled or something like that, so they can't do the fitness routine. So you need to understand your target market as much as possible, what their pain points are, what their struggles are, everything that's going on, and how your product can help solve that. That way, when you have your message, even if your copy skills suck, you can convert extremely well because your message is so targeted. So you might not necessarily be using the right words or the right copy structure or, anything like that, but because you're speaking about the exact issue they have, and it sounds like, man, that is so true. That is exactly how I feel. And they feel like that you're inside their head somehow, and you're that inner monologue, and you know everything that's going on within their head. If you can accomplish that with your market research and building out your avatar correctly, then your copy can be subpar, and you can still make millions and millions and millions of dollars with it just because you hit the nail on the head so well.
Man, what you're saying is so perfect. I love that so much. The last thing that you said was super important, which is that, when people think about copywriting, sometimes you go to, as a marketer, you're like, okay, what kind of trick can I sneak, psychologically, grab them and all this kind of stuff. And to be honest, really, copywriting it's about identifying with the person you're trying to communicate with, right? Yes. And if, like what you said, if you know what their problems are to their deepest pain, you don't have to do crazy tricks. Yeah. You just have to talk to them with exact words that they use and really hit on their pain. You don't have to do any kind of crazy stuff. So I think that's hugely important.
It removes so much of the work. I mean, imagine if I wanted to convince you to do something, but I knew nothing about you, like what you like or dislike or anything. Yeah. And I'm just like, hey, and I spend all day trying to convince you. It's a ton of work. It's frustrating for me. I don't know what's going wrong because I don't know anything about you. Yeah. Or if I took, a couple hours to read your folder or, something about you so I could understand every little thing, it would be so easy to convince you because I'd be like, hey, I heard this, and this about you. Do you want to do Y? Whatever it is, right? Yeah. And then boom, you're like, yeah, that sounds great because I know about you. I understand you instead of trying to guess. Okay, because then you're just trying to guess what people's issues are or what will work, not knowing that in their mind, they've already gone through that and they think that it's a non-issue for them. It's not a problem and they don't care about that at all. Yeah, man, 100%. And I actually want to kind of pivot this or add on this other part. So we're talking about why it's so important to understand your customers. But what I see a lot of people do is they actually speak about themselves. And you have to realize when you start to write copy or start to write your page, whatever it is,
the most common mistake probably is just talking about yourself. People say, hey, I am the Clayton Johnson business, and I've been in business for 20 years, and blah, 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 and we've won these awards. It's like, you know what? No one actually gives a fuck about you. You know what people care about? They care about themselves. So stop talking about you and talk about them. Now, I think that there is a time and a place where you actually do introduce yourself, right? Because, there's a time where after you've captured their attention and
you
build rapport and then they start to get interested in you, then you can introduce yourself and then build the trust and your credentials and stuff. Then that's when it actually makes sense, but definitely not to start. It's always about them.
Yeah, it's like, we're the #1 design firm in Sydney, Australia. Great.
Yeah, no one cares.
For you.
What are you actually going to do for me? So forget about yourself for a second and speak to what they actually care about. Okay. So speaking to the avatar, super important. I mean, it's a theme in like every one of our podcasts, but it's like you got to beat it in there.
How important it is. It's something that we're focusing on a lot at Scup too. Yeah. It's like, if you guys don't understand this, you're just fucked. You're never gonna get far.
Yeah, and dude, look, I go back through oftentimes and I look at the work that I've done previously. Like I went back and looked at the sales pages and I'm like, yeah, still talking too much about us. Let's talk about them. And look, now we'll totally rewrite like a sales page just so I'm like focused on what the customer actually cares about. You know what I mean? All right, number 3, I want to ask you, dude, how did you get good at copywriting?
Dude, there's only one way to get good at copywriting.
Yeah.
It's to practice. There's no other way around it. You have to practice, read. And then the most important thing, though, is take a look at what works and build systems and structures out of it. Because if you identify something that works and it makes money, which is what the goal of copy is to make money, then you should build a system out of it so you can just use it as a framework every single time, right? So, like, okay, this goes here. What was the point? Try to figure out the point of each little, thing you made, right? So if there's a headline here, what was the point of this headline and what was I trying to convey? Okay, there was a subheader here. What was the point of this? What was I trying to convey? Oh, there's a video here. What did I convey in this video? Okay, there's buttons here. There's testimonials here. There's this. Trying to figure out what works, okay, and then just repeating it over and over and over.
Yeah, so, but I mean, I really want to know actually how, like, what is the first time that you wrote something where you tried to convince somebody to buy, or where did you like start, or how did you start practicing?
Yeah, I mean, dude, I wanted to sell a product on the Warrior Forum. They had this like buy and sell services section, and I wanted to sell my SEO services. So I just wrote a forum post that broke everything down. Yeah. I mean, literally, copywriting, there's no magic formula to it, right? I mean, there are a lot of really good.
Yeah, we're gonna get into some formulas here in a second.
That's actually not a good little comparison there, because there are a lot of magic formulas for copywriting, but
there's formulas to make it easier. If you want to
get better, you just practice, man. Okay. Practice, research, and then learn to observe your results. And if something works, use it more and more and more, and then keep practicing, and you just get better and better.
Yeah, man. So for me, when I've always been in writing. Like I think that writing in general is just so important, because how you write is how you think. And if you can figure out how to write logically, then also you can think logically. So I think that writing period is a big skill, which is different than actual copywriting. Yeah. But when I got into copywriting, where I realized that, writing and copywriting are two different things.
Oh, they're extremely different.
And I realized that I need to get better at copywriting. And I had a friend, his name is Derek Johansson, and he came out with this thing called copyhour.com. I'm not sure if it's still up or not, but so anyway, Gary Halbert was a really famous copywriter. Yeah. He had this thing where he said, it's like, you just need to hand write a bunch of really popular sales letters that have worked in the past. So what Derek did is he got a bunch of great sales letters that were, really, they've worked in the market, that produced like millions of dollars of sales. And he would send you one every day, and you could just like hand write it. And so that's what I did. I hand copied, a bunch of different sales letters.
A bunch of John Carlton ads.
Yeah, just writing them out every single day. And what happens is, because kind of like copy is like a hard thing to teach, right? Yeah. But if you look at examples that are, have performed really well in the market, you can if you just write them, you will get the movements, the patterns. It'll all start to click because there's the way you even phrase things, the cadence of the sentences, the way the offers are formulated, the way you start here and end there. Like some of that stuff is kind of hard to teach because it just depends, right? But if you were to hand copy, all these letters, you would like suck up that subconsciously. It's kind of like if you want to get good at guitar, a really great thing to do is just like learn songs, right? Mm-hmm. Learn songs that other people have written, and you'll start to see patterns, and you can use some of those in your own songs. It'd be really, really hard to get great at guitar if you just like tried to always make up new songs on your own. You never learn anybody else's songs. So that's why I'm a real big fan. Like you said, you got to practice, right? So where do you start practicing? I like to that's where I started, but I also take marketers that I like, like Ramit Sethi. He has, what an amazing marketer. He has this site, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. I think he's a great copywriter. So I would actually take his emails that they come to me, and I think they're convincing, and I would actually copy those too, just to start getting that mindset. So that's kind of how I started, getting better at copywriting. It's just copying from greats,
Yeah, I think to take that a step further too, like I was saying earlier, is not just rewrite it, but try to understand what the purpose of each sentence was. Like, what was it trying to convey? What was it trying to make the reader feel? And that really goes back into that research part and going there, seeing what works, and then doing more of it, right? Even if it's not your own stuff, going out and seeing what others do that works, breaking it down in a way where it can be formulaic. So you can just say like, okay, so you're handwriting an ad, right? One of the greats. And you tell yourself, okay, what emotion were they trying to make someone feel here? What was the point of this? Was it supposed to anger them? Was it supposed to make them feel desperate? Was it supposed to make them feel like the world was out to get them? Something like that. And then you can build formulas out of it because you can say, okay, right here, I need to make people angry with this type of headline. And then I do this with this type of subheader. And then this body text right here is supposed to remind them that there is hope, something like that.
Yeah. Dude, so this is a great transition. You're just talking about formulas. So let's talk about a couple popular formulas that people can use, or how you've used them, or how you think about, sometimes like you got to sit there and you got to write a sales page, you got to write an ad. Like, do you just start pumping it out and start going, or, what do you use?
Oh, man, honestly, I really do just pump them out. So.
You do now at least. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like what I had always done. Just to be completely honest.
Oh, man, it's just nothing but natural Michael Jordan.
Well, no, like I said before, I would write them on my own, and then I just built my own formulas. And then I had just exactly what I'm talking about now, like going through them section by section. Plus, I wouldn't really consider mine popular. Yeah. I didn't use any of the popular ones. I just figured it out on my own, and then I'd write it.
Okay. Yeah.
Based on the template.
That's awesome, man. If you're natural, that's great. And for all the rest of us, like me, there's a couple formulas that I have used that can actually help out. First one is PAS. It's the problem, agitate, solution. You got anything on that?
It's a really good copywriting, what's it called? Formula.
Yeah.
Right? It's just very formulaic. You get someone a problem. Hey, here's what's wrong with you. Here's what's wrong with your life. Here's why you can't do X, Y, and Z. You agitate it. Look, if you don't get this fixed now, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. Your life's going to suck. It's never going to get better. Your boss is going to be mean to you. Your wife's going to leave you. It's going to suck. And then you give them the solution, which is your product,
Yeah. It's so simple, but I think, one of the reasons it works is like if you start out with a problem, like that's the first letter, right, in this acronym is the problem. Start out with a problem, and if you know your avatar's actual problems, that's really going to get their attention right off the bat. You know what I mean? If you were going to start like, "Hi, my name's Clayton, and I'm 35 years old," and blah blah blah, and no one cares about that. So you start with the actual problem of the customer. And that gets their attention. And then you agitate it, which is like, oh, you think it's bad? Well, you got to make it worse so that, if you position it as even worse, then that makes it even more painful for them, right? Well, and then they're going to start subconsciously thinking like, damn, that actually is painful, or it will be even more painful in the future if I don't take care of this. And so they're going to start thinking, what's next logically? I need a solution for this. And then bam, you hit them with the solution. And then whenever they click through to that next thing, like if you're writing an ad, for instance, the click-through rates are going to go way up, right? Because you just did that formula perfectly.
And I think that the most important there is probably the agitation.
Yeah.
This is something that we do a lot in our emails, or at least we used to. And the way that I like to do it is just kind of like I said, future pace. What is going to happen? It's like, look, if you keep down this road, and obviously this is a Shopify example, but you're going to just keep trying product after product and you're not ever going to get anywhere. What happens when you just waste all your time on these products is you're also wasting your money. So you've tried products, you've wasted all this time, you're never going to get that time back. And then you've also wasted money and you have nothing to show for it. Now, do you want to keep going down this road, or do you want the solution, which is this? And you can get it for a free trial.
Yeah, man. So that's an easy one. Second one I got on here for you guys is AIDA, and that's attention, interest, desire, action.
I've never used this copy.
Oh man, I love this one, dude. I use this one all the time. Actually, I taught a bunch of people to do this. Like when we created like the blog content product. Basically, this is like how we write the first section of every single blog post. And I think it's really great, but it applies not just blog post intros, it can be ads or whatever. So attention, interest, desire, action. So the first thing is you want to just, again, getting their attention. Like people are scrolling through Facebook all the time. You got to say something crazy to get them to stop, right?
Yeah. Well,
so go ahead.
I think that, like, the best thing to do is just really call out exactly who your target customer is. Like the first line of any ad we write, if we're trying to get someone's attention, we call out the person, and their exact pain, right?
Yeah.
That is the quickest way to do something.
Yeah, Shopify e-commerce business owners that can't scale for the love of God.
Or
read this.
Is your print-on-demand store not converting? Are people just visiting and leaving? Something like that.
Yeah. So attention and then interest. You got to get them interested in something that you have to say. So you could be like, well, we have this one secret that's actually going to help you get your store up, and we've been able to increase stores in the next 3 months. And then you go hit them with a desire. It's like, if you could do that, that means that you'd be able to go on that vacation, or you would, whatever their actual desire is. And then action is the last one. So you always got to tell people what to do. So you got to say, like, if you want us to explain this to you, click on this ad and we'll show you a video or whatever it is. You got to actually tell them what to do, right?
On that, like, telling people what to do part, it's so crazy because a lot of the time, like, you can have an ad, right? And if you don't say click the image below, people will be like, info. They'll just start typing info in the comments. You're like, what do you mean info? Just click the fucking ad. Jesus Christ. There's no info. And then one person types info, and then another person sees it, so they're like, oh, I got to type info. Info. And it's just like 50 you wake up one day, there's 50 comments that all say info, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Dude, you really got to like break it down and treat your visitors like they are 3-year-olds, okay? Yeah, because people don't read. Like, I don't even read. Like, how many times have you gone to like the store where it says like push and you're just like pulling on the door or something like that?
Your door's broken, dude.
Yeah.
Funny story is I went to Office Depot one time, and I don't know why I thought this, but when I walked in, I obviously pulled open the door to walk in, and I walked in. I go around, I do my shopping, and I'm going to leave the store, and I go to the door and I stand there. It doesn't open. So I'm like waving my arms, waiting for it to open. I start jumping up and down. I'm like, what the fuck? Their door's broken. I can't leave. I go up to the person at the desk. I'm like, hey, your door's not opening automatically. I think it's broken or something. They're like, oh, all you have to do is pull. I'm like, oh my God,
dude.
I'm such an idiot. Geez. That was so embarrassing. So I guess you're right. People don't really read.
Yeah.
I literally opened the door to get in there, and somehow I still...
Yeah. So people don't read, but if they are, you just got to make it really simple, and you really just got to tell people exactly what to do for sure. Yeah. Okay. And then lastly, you said that you have a headline formula that you wanted to break down.
Dude, this is so easy. I've been using this headline formula since like 2013. I got it from Frank Kern. It's the simplest headline formula in the world, but it works, okay? Because it hits on the 3 core things that everybody cares about. Like, these are the 3 most powerful motivators. So they crush. It's this easy. How to do X without Y in Z amount of time. Boom.
Who'd you get that from?
Frank Kern.
Frank Kern? Dude,
Yeah.
he's a genius.
Just forever ago. So how you can build a profitable Shopify store in the next 30 days without tech skills. That is literally like the thing that we ran for HCOM, the headline for our webinar registration page for 2 years, and we made over $20 million with it.
Dude.
It doesn't have to be amazing. It doesn't have to be fancy. It just needs to talk directly to what the target audience wants.
Yeah.
What do I want? It was actually how you can make $10,000 a month with the Shopify store in the next 90 days without tech skills.
Yeah.
So what do people want? They want to make $10,000 a month. They want to do it quickly, in this case, the next 90 days.
Yep.
And what do they not have? Tech
What are they
skills.
scared about?
Okay,
So,
yes, exactly. Like, what are they scared of? What do they want to stay away from? Or
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, what's
they
their
think-
main
they
objection?
think
Right?
that- yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Boom.
So
And
if
then
you
say
can
without
hit it,
that.
if you can hit those in the headline, then that gets, because it's like the 80-20. Most people are going to read the headline and that's it. So you have like one place to really hook them there. And so you got to get those 3 things in there to really hook them. If you can do that, then there's a good chance they're going to start reading more and they're going to start going down the copy. I mean, to be honest, that's how journalists write. Like they always say, like the first sentence is the most important sentence.
Oh, it is?
The
If
second
it sucks,
sentence is
then-
the second most important sentence. The third one is the third most important sentence. Because like every
sentence
single
you get 'em
one.
to the next part.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think that's really important.
And that's actually something important too that the viewer should understand is the role of every single line of copy is to get someone to read the next line.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you were familiar with the term open loops, this is something that is huge in copywriting, where you don't quite finish your thought on this line and they have to continue on to the next one to get the rest of the information. And you just keep repeating that. And that's why you always want to have short, like 1 line to 2 line max sentences instead of these huge blocky chunks of text. And there's multiple reasons for that.
No, this is perfect. I really
obviously-
wanted to go into style. Like, what do you
Yeah.
think about the writing style? What do people mess up? So this is perfect.
Yeah, well, that's the biggest one is people are doing like these huge blocky chunks of text.
Yeah.
And there's multiple reasons, like I was saying, is number one, you want to create these open loops that create like an almost hypnotic way of reading, just line after line, where they kind of get sucked
hypnosis,
in.
yeah.
And then also these huge blocks of text are just really, you're like, I'm not fucking reading that.
Yeah, nobody's
Jesus
going to read
Christ,
that.
I'm not fucking reading
because
that.
people aren't reading this like a book. You know what I mean? Like
People skim.
Yeah, especially now. I mean, you got to keep up with the times, and like people are, when they're reading on the web, they're just going through, and so you really got to make it like that. So I agree with you 100%. All right. So what's really important to know is that like when you're in high school or college and you're taking like English classes, it seems like people want you. Your teachers always wanted you to write in these like long sentences that were like, with my analysis, I have understood that, blah, blah, it's like, and you made it like as complicated and as smart sounding as possible. And I think that writing to convince somebody to buy something is like almost the complete opposite. You want to dumb it down as much as possible. You want to write towards like a 3rd grade level. You want to make short sentences. You want to break it up, no long paragraphs, all that kind of stuff, because, people just treat them like they are, like they're 3-year-olds. Seriously. I mean,
a good app for that is Hemingway app.
Oh yeah.
Anybody can download that. It'll tell you exactly what grade level you're writing at.
Yep.
It'll tell you if you're talking in passive. It'll tell you if you're using too many adverbs, like all these things that are bad practices for persuasive or entertaining writing. So
and sometimes you don't even know it. You're just writing the way you're writing, and then all of a sudden you realize that, like I use Grammarly. Grammarly is a pretty cool plugin that you can use, and it'll often tell me like, dude, your sentences are like, they're so long, because I tend to write, I'm really long-winded, obviously.
A vomit of the fingers.
Exactly.
Word vomit of the
and
fingers.
it's like, dude, you got to break up this sentence into multiple sentences, you know what I mean?
While we're on the style topic, I think another thing that I meant to touch on earlier, but I didn't, was about people skimming, is that since people skim, you have to realize that I actually, when it comes to copy, I don't think the most important text is the headline and then the line after that. I think it's the first headline and the second headline, and then the third headline and the fourth headline. And you should expect that a lot of people are going to skip through your copy from headline to headline. So what you need to do is ensure that your headlines themselves, even if they skip the rest of the text on the page, tell a cohesive and persuasive story about how their life will be transformed, or the AIDA or PAS framework, right?
Yeah.
You have to incorporate that because people are fucking lazy, especially now with this ADHD age where fucking Tinder exists and Amazon exists, and Facebook exists, and you can have everything in a goddamn second, right?
Yep.
People they just want to get through shit quick. So really keep in mind if your headlines are cohesive, if they make sense, if someone was to skip from one to the next, because a lot of times people don't do that. And then if I try to do it, because I like to test that and see if people are doing it, and I'm just like, this is so confusing. If I do it this way for this person, I have no idea what they're saying. But if you do it on our website, it's like, yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I think that's super important. I mean, your subheads, like as they go throughout the copy, because you're going to have, it's not just like one headline and then a bunch of copy. It's your headline, then a little bit of copy, and then another headline, and then a little bit of copy, and another headline. So one thing, actually, I was reviewing someone's copy the other day and just bringing it back to what we said in the beginning, like you got to speak to the customer, especially in those sub headlines. Because a lot of times what people do is they'll have maybe the first headline for the customer, right? Do you want this thing? Blah, blah, blah. And then later on, they start talking about their features, their benefits, or they start talking about just themselves. Like, yes, we have this thing. And that's it. It's like you want to change that around, flip it on what do they actually care about, right? Yeah. Especially in those sub headlines. Let me give you an example. We had this like PPC page, and I was like, one of the sub headlines was like, this optimization technique that we do, or you get we get a dedicated campaign manager. And then I was like, dude, can we make this more compelling? What do they actually care about? And they're like, I'm like, people want more money, right? It's just like, so instead of saying, we have landing pages or we create landing pages for you, I'm like, get our optimized landing pages that are going to decrease your cost by up to 50%. You know what I mean? So it's like
hand-tailored for your customer to increase your profit and lower your cost per lead.
Right. So it wasn't just a feature of benefit. I actually turned it back on them. Like, what do they actually care about? Like, even if they didn't know what a landing page was.
Nobody cares about fucking features. They want benefits. What is the benefit of the feature?
So again, back to the the avatars, like understanding what people actually care about. And that's a really good test. Is like I have people often do this test. Is like when you look at your headline and you see what's there, just ask yourself, is this what your customers, if they wake up in the middle of the night, is this
in a cold sweat?
Yeah. Is this what they wake up and say? Like, yes, I need that. So like, for example, the reason your headline worked so well for your course, that was like how to make a $10,000 a month Shopify store 90 days or less without text
every day. And they're like, fuck, I got bills to pay. I got this, and that in the middle of the night. Yeah, and they want to get rid of that pain now.
Dude, it passes
the test. They don't have time to learn test skills.
Yeah.
Boom.
Dude, it passes the test. So if you ever want to test your stuff, that is my like small test. Would your customer wake up in the middle of the night and say, oh yeah, this is my problem? Or is it like, and you get this extra fluttery, feature, So just get that out of there. All right.
Also, one more thing, guys, because I was thinking about this just now, and I was thinking about when I review sales pages for people, and a lot of the times their sub-headlines or the secondary headlines, they don't even, like, I understand that we're talking about telling a cohesive story, but this one's a little bit different. Sometimes the sub-headlines don't even make sense unless you've read the body copy. Yeah. And that is a huge no-no.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Make sure you're not doing that. People should be able to skim your headlines and understand exactly what you're saying, even if they didn't read the rest of it. So aside from just, telling a story between or with your headlines, and all your headlines working together, just ensure that they make sense if people skip other stuff.
Yeah. Okay, last one I got on here before we wrapped it up. Man, do you have any like book recommendations that people can use to get better at copywriting, understanding copywriting, sales psychology, persuasion?
Yes.
Okay, great.
I've got a few.
Yes.
So my top copywriting book of all time, it's not everybody else's. Everybody else's is breakthrough advertising. Mine is Cashvertising. Cashvertising is so good. But I'll just give them the list. Cashvertising, that's amazing. Okay,
I want to know why though.
Dude, because the whole book is just a bunch of formulas. It's literally a swipe file.
Okay.
Everything in there is like, every chapter is like 1 to 5 pages long, and they're all just techniques that you can use to persuade people in your copy. So you know how like how to win friends and influence people is like the 5 core principles of persuasion or whatever.
Okay.
Or wait, no, sorry. The not how to win friends and influence people. The one by Cialdini, the Persuasion book by Cialdini.
Okay.
Sorry. So that is like 5 principles for persuasion. And Cash Advertising shits on it because it's like 40 fucking principles for copywriting that you can use right now, and it gives you examples. It's just so good. I love it. But then you've got, all your classics. You got breakthrough advertising. And then what I would really recommend people pick up is anything by Michael Masterson. He also goes by John Ford and sometimes like Mark Morgan Ford. He has a bunch of pen names. But he works for Agora. He leads their copy division, and obviously they're a multi-billion-dollar a year company, or at least $1 billion a year company. So this guy, not only does he know how to write fucking amazing copy, but he's able to reproduce these skills within thousands of writers. And that same knowledge is in his books. I think a really good book you could start with by his is called Great Leads, and that will tell you how you're...
Oh, you have that here.
I do have that book, yes. And that will teach you how to start your sales letter. And that's obviously, like we said, the very beginning is the most important part. So definitely recommend that. And then anything else by AIWA, that's like American Institute of Writers and Artists, I believe. You can find all their books on Amazon, but they have like all the classics by Mike Masterson, like I mentioned. They have the ones by Bob Bly, like all these really good copywriters, okay? And this is the thing, is not a lot of people read these guys' books, but these are the holy grail of copywriting books. Like if you just read these, you're going to be better than 95% of people. Maybe, actually, no, scratch that. You're going to be better than 99% of people because a lot of people aren't even in the industry or trying. But when it comes to only copywriters, you're going to be better than like 95% of people. And then my last recommendation, also one of my favorite books, is just How to Get Super Rich in the Opportunity Market.
Oh, yeah, I read that.
Yeah, that goes quite a bit into understanding your avatar and then how you can consistently sell to them. It's a little bit more than just copywriting. I would say there's a lot of marketing in there too. It's a good mix, but you can't have one without the other anyways. So it's important to have both. And then I guess there's a book by Todd Brown. I can't remember which one it is. Any Todd Brown book is good. Let's just put it that way. It's not the E5 method, although I would definitely recommend picking that up as well. It's a really small book of his that's specifically about like unique mechanisms and unique angles and stuff like that. It's really, really good. Shoot, there's another one that I love that Rob stole from me that I want to recommend. The Subtle Art of Persuasion.
Okay.
Yeah, that one's really good. Small red book. Again, all about unique mechanisms. And when you start getting deep into the game, like unique mechanisms, that's going to put you way ahead of everybody else and make your headlines so intriguing. And just this is a really good example of what a unique mechanism is just thinking about P90X. So I use this example all the time because it's probably the most famous ever.
Yep.
But P90X, a lot of people don't know this, was a failing product. Nobody was buying it because they didn't see how it was different from other weight loss programs. This is just, so they tried selling it for a few years, and then Beachbody, this is the company that owns it, was like, all right, we're going to scrap this fucking product. It's not making us any money. It doesn't make sense to keep wasting advertising money on this. And then one of their copywriters was like, well, let me try something really quick. So in the next infomercial, they changed it, and all they said was the reason P90X works is because of muscle confusion. That was their unique mechanism. And then what goes off in your in your target's mind is, man, that's why I was never getting ripped, because I wasn't using muscle confusion. I was just doing everything else. So when you create a unique mechanism, it makes something proprietary just to you, right? And that makes you stand out from the crowd. And it also gives people a reason to buy, even if they consider themselves done with the market or they consider that nothing works in the market, right? They're like, well, I already tried a bunch of weight loss programs, so I'm not going to buy another one. Oh, but I just discovered that this one it's got this unique thing about it, and that's what I was missing. I guess I will buy it.
Yeah.
And then you don't even have to be. The thing is like P90X it's not really different from other workout programs at all. They just said it is. And there's a really good example of this from Mad Men too. If you've ever watched that, have you?
No.
Well, there's this.
Well, some episodes, but not.
They're writing an ad campaign for this cigarette company called Lucky Strikes. And maybe it wasn't called that. I don't know. I've never smoked cigarettes, and I don't watch the show. So, but I have seen this episode.
Yeah.
And the owner of the cigarette company was walking them through the process of creating the cigarettes. And this was right after the surgeons came out and said that it was like unhealthy to smoke or whatever. And so they were trying to combat that with the ad campaign. And then when he was explaining how they, handle the tobacco, he's like, well, then we toast the tobacco, and then we do this.
yeah.
And then the character, John, I don't know, the main character is like, well, what was that? You toast the tobacco? That sounds healthy. Lucky Strikes were toasted. And then the owner of the company is like, well, every company does that. It's just standard operating procedure. And he's like, yes, but nobody else is saying it. And if we're the first ones to mechanize it and make it a thing, then we'll take over the market. And if anybody else says it, they're just copying us. So, boom.
Damn, dude, that was like advanced copywriting. We gotta save another episode for that. That's awesome, man.
So Lucky Strikes, they're toasted. We're toasted.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, having that unique mechanism can really like make your brand stand apart, especially if you're selling something that's commoditized that everybody else is doing.
So and that's what a lot of things are now too. So it's important to do that. And I think one last book that's worth mentioning. I don't know his name. Maybe you do. Something Edwards, Jim Edwards, Ray Edwards.
Not sure.
I think. He works for ClickFunnels, and he wrote a book called...
Jim Edwards, yeah.
Jim Edwards, yeah. He wrote a book
Secrets.
called Copywriting Secrets. Yep. I haven't read it myself, but I've heard good things, and I imagine if you're a beginner copywriter, it'd probably be pretty good for you. So I wouldn't sleep on that one either.
Well, dude, to be honest, like to be great, you got to revisit the basics. You got to nail the basics. So just revisiting the basics even for myself. So I'm going to throw only in one copywriting book. There's a book that's literally called "I Will Teach You How to Write Better." Or this book. This book will teach you how to write better. It's by Neville Medora. Hopefully, I got his name right. But man, this book is literally it's like 20 pages long or something. It's like super short. Yeah, anybody you can pump it out in less than like an hour, I'm sure. But it's an amazing book that just goes over like the basics of copywriting. And I swear to God, if you read this book, you can read it in less than an hour, maybe even less than 30 minutes. Your copywriting skills will go up. It's required reading for anyone that joins my marketing department. And
he's the guy who owns like copywriting course.
Yeah, copywriting course with a K.
Yes. Yeah. When I lived in Austin, Texas, I saw he has billboards there.
Yeah.
Like, everywhere. I would just see him. I'm like, what the fuck?
He has billboards?
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
Wow.
What kind of city do I live in that has billboards for a copywriting course? That was pretty wild. Well, actually, so since we're talking about small books, that made me think of the 12-page sales letter by Alvaro Albuquerque or something.
The 12-page or 12-step? Or
12-page sales letter, one of those. Or the 12-step, I don't know. It's one of those two. God, now you got me confused.
Get it right, man.
It's
I'm going to look it up.
It's a really good book.
Yeah. I found on here 12-step foolproof sales letter template. Let's see here.
Man, look up Alvaro. Elvardo.
Okay. Alvardo.
I'm an idiot. It's the 16-word sales letter.
16-word sales letter.
There we go. That's a nice short book as well. So if you're looking for a short one that you can get a lot of value from, dude, I look like Ray Charles, I think.
Why? Because you have sunglasses?
Yes.
That's the only similarity.
I look like I couldn't see for a second. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to sound crass or anything. It's just I'm trying to see the screen and I couldn't.
The 16-word sales letter, yes, by Evaldo Albuquerque.
Yeah, this guy is excellent. He works for Agora as well, and he's their fastest-growing copywriter. Like, he made them the most money as a new hire. And he decided to document his process. So highly recommend checking it out.
Dude, you are like the book man. I have so many books that I need to read from your recommendations. It's like
you realize that all these books are all copywriting books.
Yeah.
You guys can't see it, but there's literally about
a whole stack
40 copywriting books out there.
Oh my God, I have so much work to do, man, to catch up. Jeez.
Oh God, and that's why I have such a hard time explaining it. It's like one of those things. It's the Dunning-Kruger, right? Where if I was new to copywriting, I would have so much confidence in talking about it. And I'm like, yeah. But since I've been doing it for so long, it's like, I don't know shit about copywriting. There's always so much more to learn. But guys,
let me wrap up. Let me wrap up with like a little recap of everything, just so you can, if you skip to the end, here's what we had. Okay, number one, copywriting, super important, because anything you ever do is going to come from copywriting. Even if it's a video, it's going to be.
I think it's also important to note, because this is something I've explained to other people before, is it's important to know for anyone, not even people who are business, because you can use it to persuade your friends, your family, your husband or wife, your kids, your boss to give you a fucking raise.
True that.
Like, there's so many reasons for you to do this. That is why I think it is the most valuable skill right alongside sales. And copywriting and sales are very different. Do not ever confuse the two, because what you say, like speaking sales and typing a sales letter is two very different things because one's conversational.
Yeah.
But these are the two most valuable skills that you can have. So
Yeah.
do not sleep on them.
So copywriting, if you want to be a great marketer, become a great copywriter. Number 2 is speak to the avatar. If you can actually understand your avatar, then it makes copywriting really, really easy.
You don't even
and
need
if you
the books, you don't need the tactics because your words hit so strongly.
Yep. And it's not about you, it's about the customer, okay? Number 3, get good at copywriting by either being a genius like Devin, aka reading a million books. Yeah. And just practice. You can even hand copy or copy on a computer letters that you've seen that have worked, sales letters that you like, emails that you like from really smart, great copywriters. And if you had nothing else to do, just practice, okay? Number 4, we had formulas. So problem, agitate, solutions, great one. AIDA, attention, interest, desire, action. The headline formula that you dropped, which is how to get whatever within X days without XYZ.
How to get X in Y amount of time without Z.
Okay, boom, got it. And then we hit on style. You got to keep that style good, man. You got to keep it short, simple, conversational. Use your subheads right. Speak to the customer. And make it really easy, not complicated. And then lastly, the bazillion books that Devin recommended. Go ahead and read those. Maybe we'll put some links on the YouTube. But then, boom, that's Copywriting 101. Hopefully that was great for you guys. Provide a lot of value. Tell them what to do, Devin.
Oh, dude, I just have a question for him, actually.
Question.
Yeah. If you haven't yet liked, subscribe, commented, and rang the bell on YouTube, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Every single day that you go and lay down in bed, your significant other knows that you didn't do those things, and they're judging you, and they're considering leaving you. So if you haven't yet liked, commented, subscribed, and rang the bell on YouTube, do it now. And then your significant other won't leave you.
You never know what will happen if you actually comment and subscribe. We might
send you a
you might learn something that changed your life. You might get a free T-shirt in the mail. Who knows?
Someone else who commented got a free T-shirt in the mail. Actually, it didn't arrive yet, but international shipping. If you're on Apple Podcasts, make sure you leave a 5-star review.
Actually, we got a few new ones.
A couple new ones, and they left text.
Thank you to those that left reviews.
Thank you.
We love it.
And if you're on Spotify, all you really can do is subscribe. So subscribe, but also head over to Apple Podcasts and leave a 5-star review.
Cool.
Now, the final step is to go to rowdyboys.net. Okay. It's beautiful. Clayton built the website himself. He slaved away on it for one whole night. And he did get very frustrated in the middle of it.
Yeah. Welcome to WordPress. Yeah.
But leave your email there. We'll send you cool updates. And we're trying to brainstorm some really cool things that we can do for email subscribers. Just know that if you are on the email list, you will get exclusive content.
Yes.
Okay.
Rowdyboys.net is so easy. It's the first thing on the page. Put your email address in there, and that's going to be it's going to be amazing. You're going to want to be on this email list because we got some cool stuff coming out.
All right, man.
All right, Rowdy Boys fist bump.
Boom.